Hello, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for checking out my channel and for clicking on the video. My name is Allie with Marie Speaks. It is April 23rd, 2026, and I am going to speak today just briefly about the body as an instrument and what I mean by that and why I like those words. So I'm hoping this is going to go along with the last couple videos that I put out. If you are not new to my channel, you might know I took a break at the end of 2025 and have come back kind of now in spring 2026. And my targeted concepts, I feel, are really about the physical journey in the world, the real life kind of applications, that's the word, of all of the different practices, you know, metaphysical, spiritual, mental practices, physical practices, having them all come together in a way that promotes positive productivity, it promotes harmonious balance within, you know, the system, within the self. And when we can get into that kind of space of self-regulation and conscious awareness of that, the process of regulation, the process of balancing, that we can really get great work. We can really turn around things that look like they've gone too far, you know, or even, you know, really sort of health crisis events, or even just the little things, you know, because as much as I work on this kind of stuff, there's always more. There's always something else. There's always a bit of tuning and hygiene needed, sort of on a daily, weekly, or seasonal kind of cyclic cycle that I feel like is pertinent to getting good work out of the system, out of ourselves. And when we say the body is an instrument, it, to me, really creates a nice visual and helps us to think about it metaphorically and metaphysically in a way that we can bring together these mind, body, and spirit that seem like so separate, so different, into one vessel, understanding how they all do have their own portions of space and relative work, but they're all interlinking, and they do and can come together in a way that is harmonious, you know, that is suited for each one of them. It's not one and done. It's not easily to just do. It's simple in explaining. It's simple in understanding the methodology. But when it comes to application, this is when complexity comes in. This is when the difficulties arise. And so I thought if I made a little bit of a touch point video to go with the videos that I've put out already. If you are new and you're just popping into this video, I will put links in the description of the last two or three, I think, videos that I put out. Sort of a recap or an introduction, depending on who or where you are, on three-part systems, on the mind, body, spirit complex, and looking at what I mean by those systems, and also about the energetic tower that is the whole body, and how each floor, as I like to kind of envision it and call it, each floor of the tower is its own system in itself, using the structure as guidance in order to find your own individual expressions within the template. So if you missed that video and you're interested, you can find in the description. I also put out a video about the importance of imagination, and I put that one out because we all need imagination in a conscious application of it, understanding that it actually is part of the instrument. It's you know, a piece of the instrument. It's kind of like if we have violin, or it would be like the bow, you know, to go along with the body of the violin, or you know, on like a flute, there's like the little open and close mechanisms, and the imagination is itself a tool but it's a body of space as well. And so when we can understand this sort of the multidimensionality and multifacetedness, not just of how that applies to imagination, but how it applies to our whole selves, we can really see for ourselves how important the skill and the mastery of communication and understanding what the imagination really is. And that when we choose to use it, it becomes, I like to call it a lens of conscious awareness. And you can zoom in and out, sort of like a microscope and a telescope, through the levels and layers of your own self, cellular consciousness, systematic consciousness, body consciousness. Also, you can zoom out and see collective consciousness. You can connect to Source and to God. And we all are already connected, which is what I spoke about understanding the power of sovereignty and unconditional love, where eternal energy of the Taurus actually comes from. Because if you unite with the truth of eternity and what it truly means to be a fractal source of God, to be created in God's image, to be bestowed with the gift of life as we are all alive, in the level that we are of conscious awareness of humankind, we have certain tools and capabilities that differentiate us from other forms of life here. Understanding that this makeup, the setup is designed by infinite intelligence with purpose, on purpose, and that you, I, all of us have a purpose and have a designated role in the whole. That is what sovereignty and unconditional love really tap into. That is what being connected to God's source means. And it's truly that everlasting space, the 0 point within the toroidal that refreshes, that draws in, that pushes out, that does all of this kind of stuff naturally. If you need a bit of firm footing to really ground faith and understanding into what I mean by this, it's like you don't have to sit there and monitor your heart beating. You don't have to monitor, your eyes blinking, or any of these kind of like small, minute functions of the body. We collectively, and mostly academia, propaganda nuts, push upon us this idea of unconscious, subconscious, jam them both together. We don't really know a distinct difference about them, but you don't have control over it. You don't know about it. It's not within the capacity for you to change, to alter, to fix. And they really just anything that they didn't understand, any kind of outlier in their silly little statistical parameters that they put in their sterile lab environment, if it didn't fit into their box, they just threw it into unconscious, subconscious crap. You don't know. We don't know about it. You don't know about it. You don't need to know about it. And lately and more, people are starting to uncover and realize, well, actually, wait a minute. We do know. We do have control over it. We can make impressions and alterations to these systems. Now, some like buzzwords for this kind of stuff, if people are interested in looking around at what penguin parrots are squawking about all over their white papers with their glasses and stamping their little certified approved expertise across, you can go and find it. Look up the parasympathetic nervous system. Understand that they're all saying, finally, and understanding that we actually do have a role of influence in that. We actually can tap into that and understand what the peripheral nervous system is all about. What, I like to call your army, but they'll call it your immune system. Um, you know, who's in charge there, what it's doing, and when it's activated, when it's overactivated, when it's under stimulated, or where's crises, or, poor productivity in there. It's once we infuse and deeply connect and integrate imagination exploration as a function with the instrument, you will find that you can have conversations down in there. You can, and you do have an impact and an influence on there. Even what starts to happen is it's like, I love this as an instrument, this sort of metaphor, because it's very much like when you start an instrument, and it's like first you have to learn what the keys are, where how the note is played, and the physical position, say with a flute, like you have to learn to hold it this way, and the way that the body plays it, and the way that you blow the air through it, and how hard or soft, and what each note sounds like. There's a language, a fluency to learn and to get comfortable within when you learn an instrument. And that's, the first stage of it. And that, for us with imagination exploration and thinking about inside your body vessel, getting in communication with the systems and with all of the consciousness that resides within there, it takes time. And there's this, the foreground is full of this sort of understanding and learning the process. And that looks like sitting in meditation. That looks like going inwards. It is a lot of introspection and contemplation and listening that's done internally. And it has to be done first, and there's no other way about it. If you start to try to work with the external torrido first, in your service and your expression out in the real world first, before you actually know how to play the instrument, it's kind of like the flute player trying to jump into orchestra, Boston Symphony or whatever, and they are brand new at the instrument. You're going to ruin the whole song for the whole orchestra, and others out there they can't pick up the slack for you. They can't do anything to help you learn to play better, because they're playing their instrument. They are waiting for their cues. They are listening to the metronome of the whole song and focusing on how to play their instrument. So you can't just go out in the world and start to think that other people are going to show you the way of it, or that you're going to be able to do good conscious work for the collective to serve God, whatever is your perspective of this, without going inwards first, without taking dedication, time, practice, commitment to learning your instrument and how to play it well. And when you learn how to play it well, then you go and join an orchestra. Then you go out and play for others, or play a song for another person or something. That is a whole new level. And that's really where I'm at in my growth period and in my studentship and my expressions and practices. And that's what I'm hoping to kind of share things at the bend in the curve that I am at. And I understand there's loads of people who are also just still, haven't even picked up their instrument really, or they're afraid of it, or they see it in a certain light, or they've been told it's supposed to be done this certain way by a teacher or a guru or television or whatever the case is, and they find out, like, I can't do it that way. That doesn't work for me. It's not one size fits all. And so I hope to encourage people by sort of sharing where I'm at, which, is working to learn how to play with others, and what my instrument and my service, my energy, my intentions really how they really interact with others, and what that causes, you know, my own inner system to then have responses to. But you know, while I share where I'm at, I also hope that it's a bit of encouragement to others to learn to fumble through their own, and to take that dedicated time to learn with enjoyment and love your own instrument, and know that it is possible, and that it isn't one and done, and it isn't, oh, somebody's talented or not talented, and if you're not, like, it's not for you. We are all infinitely talented. We are each come in with this beautiful blessing gift inside of us that is meant to be expressed out in the whole. And so it doesn't matter how long it's been, or how short it's been, or if you've been, you know, rigorously trying, or you've given up, or whatever, you know. We're all in it together, and in fact, we can really help each other by just being honest and transparent about where we're at and what we're doing, you know. So yeah. The body is an instrument, and our expressions, it's not just about service, it's not just about some kind of purpose that you have within you either. It's like the purpose within us certainly starts off with the core commonality, you know, which is to be happy, to be peaceful, to be enjoying life, to be full of joy, right? And so even just learning to accept that as your sole purpose first. Then once you sort of clear out the static and the chaos, and you, even if you've forgotten what instrument you're meant to play, even if you don't even have a clue about it, if you sit with the inner self, and as the musician you just wait, you'll be surprised at what you're shown, at what comes up for you, at what you discover. Because I'm not sure if I said this in the other video or not, in the imagination video I might have, but it's a bit like that meme, when you stare into the abyss stares back. When you look at something with consciousness, when you cast your gaze out in a loving manner, it looks back at you, and you see that, you know. And so giving yourself that space to just practice that, even, you'd be surprised at the mirrored reflective responses that you are called to see. And they will lead the way. They will bring you into a place of connectivity, you know. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I really just kind of wanted to ensure to put up a video about the body itself, not just the physical body, but the our body as mind, body, spirit complex, you know, this being that we are incarnated into. To just say that we need, you know, what's the word? Not practice. We need to have a familiarity and a relevant base understanding about, you know, the application, the tool, the functionality that we are. And especially in videos to come, I'm going to do some meditation work, some live ones, you know, that are meant to do more consciously, and that can be applied into everyday world, and also offer out some more standard type of meditation with imagination work, where we close our eyes and dive down into the self and practice communication in there. But I thought that beforehand I should probably put out this little informative kind of explanation about what the body really means to me. So thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.